News, Nairobi.
Now, the 13th Parliament has convened at a time when there is confusion over the future of the Constituency Development Fund after the court ruled that it was unconstitutional and that MPs could not oversee its implementation. But during a meeting with Kenya Kwanza elected leaders at his current residence this week, President-elect William Ruto pledged to continue disbursing the CDF kitty to MPs, arguing that the Supreme Court ruling on the fund was based on a different legislation. So just what is the status of this fund? Our political affairs reporter David Muthoka interrogates.
Barely a month after the Supreme Court rendered a verdict declaring the Constituency Development Fund, CDF, unconstitutional, it now appears that the fund may be there to stay. This is after President-elect William Ruto assured MPs in the maiden Kenya Kwanza Parliamentary Group meeting on Wednesday that amid the Supreme Court verdict, each MP will still get up to 100 million shillings each year to spend on CDF functions. According to the President-elect, the CDF that was abolished was not the one that has been in use for the past 7 years.
I have been a member of Parliament when there was no CDF. And I have been a member of Parliament when there was CDF. And the difference is immense. So I know how important it is for CDF to continue because it is one of the funds whose impact can be seen in any part of Kenya.
A point that members of the 13th Parliament who were sworn in on Thursday seemed to agree with.
My proposal to my people, even when I was looking for votes, I told them what I want to do is to ensure that I empower them financially.
How you use CDF will determine how long you stay in Parliament. Yeah? It is as simple as that.
So does that mean that the judgment delivered by a 5-judge bench of the Apex Court led by Chief Justice Martha Koome exactly a month ago was inconsequential? In its verdict, the Supreme Court declared the CDF Act enacted in 2013 and changed in 2015 unconstitutional for violating the principle of separation of powers between the executive and legislature. Just 7 years before the verdict, the High Court in 2015 had also rendered the CDF Act 2013 unconstitutional. The Court of Appeal as well upheld that ruling but gave MPs a 12-month window to change it. It is the amended CDF Act, now referred to as the National Government Constituency Development Fund, NGCDF Act 2015, that Ruto and the MPs say is in effect. According to them, the Supreme Court only annulled the original CDF 2013 Act and not the NGCDF 2015 Act.
We know that the legislation that was taken to court is the old legislation. It's not the legislation that currently is the basis upon which CDF is going on. We will continue to work with the law so that it continues to be available.
And with the Supreme Court indeed having rendered the 2013 Act that was later changed in 2015 unconstitutional, the CDF debate could be returning to the Supreme Court again in the coming days for an interpretation as of whether the verdict extended to the amended Act or solely touched on the original Act. David Muthoka, KTN News, Nairobi.
To other news now, 3 people died early today in a fatal road accident